This beautiful little Schnauzer girl is Honeybee. I'm Shawn Kent Hayashi with Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Toy Schnauzers, and today I want to share with you why I Embark test all of my breeding dogs. Honeybee is an example of why it's so important that I do this. So Honeybee is this beautiful wheaten gold color, and she's just exquisite. She's so smart. She has a wonderful personality. She loves to cuddle. Let's go through her Embark DNA report now so that you too can understand what I'm looking for and why this is so important. So here is Honeybee's Embark DNA test. And one of the first things that we begin to look at, we notice, is that she's 100% purebred miniature Schnauzer. I also like to look at the date that the test was done. So in this case, it was April 15th of 2022. And on the next page in the report, we see an overview of what it means to be a miniature Schnauzer. And then we see the maternal line and where that's coming from. Next, in Honeybee's report, we see her traits. Now, we could look at her and already know that she's recessive red. So she has two little E's here in this E allele trait, which means that she's going to be light colored with no dark hairs anywhere. But we don't know, is she going to be white or is she going to be red? That we find out a little later in the report. Next, we see on the K locus that she is a capital K, capital B, which means that if we bred her to a dog who has a capital E, this KB, so dogs who test as KB, KY may be brindle, but I don't really have brindle in my breed. So the other thing that we need to know about this is that they tend to have a black, so dominant black. The KB allele is referred to as the dominant black allele. So she could throw solid black puppies if bred to a dog who has a capital E up here. So she has the two little E's. If I breed her to a dog who also has two little E's, they will only have light colored puppies. All right, so the next trait here is one that's really important to me when I'm thinking about breeding her. And this has to do with the intensity loci, and it's a linkage test. And so it tells us that she is intermediate red in her pigmentation. So that's very exciting to me. She happens to have 7 out of 10 reds in this section. So again, I do another video on that more specifically. All right, so this A locus is not expressed, and it's not expressed because dogs that have the lowercase ee are going to be white or cream or red and not some of these other colors that you see that could play out. All right, all of my dogs are capital DD, which means that I don't produce dogs that are blue, charcoal, fawn, or silver in color. And the next thing here is the cocoa allele or trait. And again, I've never seen this in any of my Schnauzers, so the cocoa is not expressed. Next, we see the B locus, and this one is very important to me because this one determines is the skin and potentially hair going to be black or brown. Now, in this case, Honeybee has a capital B, which tells me that her skin color is going to be black. Her nose, her feet, around her eye rims, going to be black. But notice she's also a carrier for the little b, which means if I breed her to a dog who has a little b, I could get chocolate colored puppies. So let's look at this with Honeybee here. Honeybee's nose Here we go. Help me out, Honeybee. Honeybee's nose is definitely black. But now imagine that coloring that Honeybee has with a brown nose. That would be the little BB. And this is also how we get chocolate colored hair in puppies, that little BB. All right, next, well, in order to get the chocolate color, we need the capital E. So capital E up above further in the up where we were talking about before. So we need a capital E, and then we need two little BBs in order to get chocolate color coats, like my dog Truffles has, for example, or my dog Godiva. You can look at their DNA reports to see what that looks like. So saddle tan does not express in Schnauzers. Now the S locus is another one that's very important to me, and what I love about this little girl is that she has two capital S's. So she is always going to produce solid colored puppies. So if I'm wanting a solid color red dog, I know she can help me produce that, for example. Another thing that we could see here, we could see a little SP, and that would be a party color dog, meaning that it would be primarily white with color, and it could be black or chocolate or red, and that would be a party color. But Honeybee will not produce any party color puppies, because each puppy gets one gene from one parent and one gene from the other parent. And in this case, the capital S is the dominant, and so knowing that they will always get a capital S, her puppies will always get a capital S from her, thus they'll always be solid. Next, we're looking in the report and we see the Merrill, and my dogs don't have any Merrill, so I don't typically look at that one. My dogs don't have Roan. My dogs don't have Harlequin, so Schnauzers are not known for that. Next, we see things like Furnishings, so these trait furnishings, and we see a capital FF here, which tells us that she's going to have a heavy coat, a furnished face with a mustache, a beard, and this is also what helps us to create that great teddy bear look. So if you see my dog Reddy is a little boy in our breeding program, and if you look at him, you'll see that he also has this FF, and he's groomed in a teddy bear style. This capital FF enables us to have a lot of coat and to do that. All right, then we see coat length. She's likely to have a long coat. So this also is a cue to us that she will need grooming, right? Light shedding. Schnauzers typically do not shed, and so that's what we're seeing here. And then my dogs are not hairless, so I don't need to look at these next couple of items. Other coat traits. Not likely albino. Again, I've never had an albino dog. Likely wavy coat. So again, more coat on the coat side here. So next, let's see. We are looking at things like muzzle length. So that is not important in my breed, but notice that it shows up here. Tail length and hind dew claws. Now, I want to point out something about Honeybee that is extremely important that I learned from these Embark DNA tests. When we look at Honeybee's health report, we see something that is vital in determining how we breed Honeybee. So Honeybee has one copy of the progressive retinal atrophy. It's also referred to as PRA in dogs. Honeybee is not affected by the PRA. She will not experience progressive retinal atrophy, PRA, because she only has one copy. She inherited one from a mom and one from a dad, and she has one, which means that I have to be very conscious about who I breed her to. I would not breed her to a boy who also has a copy of progressive retinal atrophy. Now, the other thing that I'm committed to, I will breed her to clear males who are clear in everything. And when you look at my males on the other YouTube videos that I've done about them, you'll see that they are all clear. But notice Honeybee is clear on all the breed relevant conditions that are tested in Embark. So there are 3 breed relevant issues. Honeybee is clear for all of those. And then Honeybee is also clear for all of the other things here, the additional tests that were done on Honeybee. So as long as I'm breeding her to a dog that doesn't have 1 copy of PRA, we are in great shape. So again, you can see Honeybee is a really great dog in my breeding program, as long as I'm conscious as a breeder to ensure that I am only breeding her to dogs that are clear of PRA. So when we think about this coloring, this incredibly beautiful coloring in Schnauzers and how we produce that, Honeybee's DNA reports help me to know who to breed her to so that I'm being an ethical, responsible breeder. And this enables me to give a 10-year health guarantee on my puppies so that my puppies come with a 10-year genetic health guarantee. And we would discuss that in more depth, and you would see what that looks like if you were moving forward and getting a puppy from me. But I am a committed, ethical breeder who wants to make sure that I am improving my breed and improving health of dogs in general. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and join along. There is a whole series on Embark DNA testing here on my site so that you can learn more about why it's important to Embark DNA test and why, if you're getting a puppy, you want to make sure that your breeder knows that your dog does not have any inherited genetic disorders that are currently being tested. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.